people, and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros, a speaker, a coach, and an author, and I like to share tips, tools, techniques, and nuggets that I share with people who come when I speak to an audience, when I give a training, one-on-one coaching clients, right? These are literally tips and tools that I use for myself and in my own life, and as well with my clients and people that I work with. And they work when you work them, but you have to be willing to do the work. Notice the theme here? So today I want to talk about a question that I got based on a reel that I posted on Instagram. I work with students. I work with some students, and one of the students that I was working with was talking about his father, and he had mentioned that his father already ruined his future, right? And I was like, whoa, time. Nope, I don't think so. Because we have a tendency to say, look at what you've done. You've hurt me, and now you're going to ruin everything else, which we think is a way for us to like guilt them, like, you did this to me. But the reality is what we're doing is saying, here's all my power. And we're surrendering our power to these people who hurt us. Now, we know, and we've heard it before, that hurt people because they're repeating the patterns that they have experienced and lived in their lives. But that does not mean that you need to necessarily continue to carry that hurt. You might need therapy, you might need coaching, you might need something else to help you kind of break that cycle, but you don't have to continue the cycle. The first thing that we have to decide, though, is no. You will not get the power over my tomorrows. I don't know what's coming tomorrow, but I certainly know you're not going to be in control. Now, recognizing this idea of control, we also have to recognize that we really only truly have control over one thing, and that's ourselves. And so they might have hurt us, and they might have done things to impact us, be it our parents or other people, but we have to decide who are we going to be. So based on that little reel that I had posted, and it wasn't even that long, a woman posted, how do I stop from becoming like my parents? How do I break that generational trauma cycle? And I thought that that question was so yummy that I wanted to share the answer that I gave her, but also unpack it just a little bit more. So my response to her was, you already started the process by asking that question, so good for you. And the truth is, when we ask the question, because now we recognize that we are aware enough to say, this is a generational cycle that I want to break, or we say, how do I not be like that? That's fantastic, because asking the question makes us more available to the solution. The key here is to make sure that we don't harp on the problem or the question, and that we use that as information to get us closer to the solution. So what is it about your parents that is unhealthy? I don't like to say anymore good or bad, right or wrong, because that dynamic, those words depend on the dynamic. What I would prefer to say is, what behaviors do they have that are healthy that you want to continue to duplicate? And then, call me crazy, but thank them for those behaviors. Thank them for those patterns, right? I have these systems in my life, and I realize that those systems, some of those, come from my mother. And originally, they were created to help us survive, but now I use them to be able to be more productive, right? To create time spaces in my life and to chunk my time down, to be more efficient and more effective, so I have more room for spontaneity in the rest of my life. Those systems that were originally designed to help us survive, I now use to help me thrive. Thank you, Mom. So when we recognize from our parents what we have learned that can be a healthy behavior, thank them for it. I'm not saying you have to like physically call them up or like, reach out to them. Send that energy, put that energy into the world. I don't know your dynamic with your parent, but send that energy out there. Thank them for it, because they weren't 100% bad. There was something, even if it was one thing, that was good about them that you learned and that you are now able to use to benefit and better your own life, right? And then on the other side of that coin is, what are the behaviors that they're doing that, or were doing or did to you that were unhealthy? And what does that teach you about who you want to be? When we can recognize and acknowledge what we don't want, that's important information, because when I know what I don't want, I can figure out what I do want. And then that's where my focus needs to go. Not harping on the what I don't want part. I don't want to be like my parents. What was it about them that was good, that I am continuing those practices? And then what was it about them? And I said good, but I meant healthy. What was it about them that was unhealthy? Because then I can use that information and say, okay, I know what was unhealthy. So the opposite or something different then is probably healthy. And I can come over here and let that be my focus. That's how we break those cycles, right? They just keep going around and around until we are aware, we question it, we make different decisions, and then we take action and like crack that bad boy open, right? So, second part of what I said to her was look at them objectively and try to determine what is healthy that you got from them. Thank them for that. And then determine what is unhealthy. Use that information to decide who you'll be. And then I did put this here because this is really important. I'll say it again. I said it before. Get help. If you don't know how to flip the script, how to take the unhealthy and figure out what's the opposite of that, what's the healthy version of that, so that you can start taking action and heading in that direction, get therapy, go to coaching, get a spiritual guide. I don't know what works for you and what is your practice, but definitely be willing to seek out help and to invest in yourself to continue to break those cycles and to do that work, right? And then I put pay attention to your thoughts, words, and actions. Align them with your new story. Like, I am a proponent of writing your story. Who do you say you want to be? How do you want to show up in the spaces of your life? What kind of energy do you want to hold for yourself and bring into the world? And then make decisions that align with that story. And at first, they feel really uncomfortable because they're disconnected from the patterns that you have been repeating through this old programming. Well, good. The discomfort is a gift, right? Because that's a way for me to know that I'm stepping out of the old and I'm stepping into the new because it's uncomfortable. Congratulations, that's good stuff. And then what is this new story that I have created based on what I know was unhealthy and I have determined to be who I'm going to become? What is healthy that I'm holding on to? What is this new story? And then how am I moving in that direction and where do I need help, right, in order to move in that direction? And then I just want to remind you, and as I did to her, be kind to yourself. This is a process and it's going to take some time. If you have been living in an old pattern based on an old program for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, don't think in a month you're going to be able to totally like undo all of that work. It's not real. Our goal is to continuously move the needle, because what happens is if we try to take a quantum leap, we're so far from where this is where we are and this is where we want to be. Well, you might be able to take that quantum leap and usually it lasts 10, 12 days and then you self-sabotage because the gap is too big. You collapse. But if you do this and you're always moving you're moving the needle. This is new you, this is old you, and then old you catches up. You move the needle, you catch up. You move the needle, you catch up. You move the needle, you catch up. That's a more sustainable and healthier way to do this work, because then when you get over here, you're over here. You're not needing to fill in any gaps. You're not going to collapse in, right? So the goal is to move the needle one degree at a time and to be kind to yourself and loving to yourself during the process. Heart work is hard work, so please be nice to yourself. Okay, that's what I have. Under 10 minutes, trying to be done. I know that's a lot. Generational curses in 8 minutes, go! So, and it's not necessarily curses so much as it's patterns and behaviors that we're trying to break, which lead to curses, right? Okay, comments, questions, you know how to reach me. Share, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, do you, boo-boo. Sending you love and light no matter what. I'm sending you love and light no matter what. Peace!